They'll gutcha. They'll gutcha for real. Hey, gang, what's going on? Kevin Gootee here, ready for another fantastic episode of Gutting the Sacred Cow. Who do we have as this week's gutter? Well, we're going back to the well again and again and again with Bill Schulz, our buddy. You love him from Morning on Compound Media with Bill and Joanne, another one of our favorites. Bill has decided to take his hatred of Tom Hanks and start with a little film called Big. Before we get to it, guttingthesacredcow.com every day for blog articles, as well as some cool merch. Hats, bags, mugs, shirts, long sleeves, hoodies, you name it. We have it all at guttingthesacredcow.com. Please leave us that rating we all love, 5-star rating, 2 or 3 sentence review, and subscribe to us on YouTube. We love you. Thank you so very much for doing so. And without a further moment of delay, here's Bill Schulz trying to shrink big.
Gather round, here's what I know. It's just that this cow has got to go. I know some people kinda like it, yeah, it's trending right now. Yeah, that doesn't matter, 'cause we're gutting the sacred cow.
Hey, how did you get the Franks over the beans? Kevin Israel named that film.
You now you're just insulting me. You know, sometimes I'm
having a brain fart because I know that line, but
something about Mary.
Yes, it is something about Mary. The streak is over for Kevin Israel. I was afraid you would not get that one.
No, Franks and beans. Come on.
Kevin Gootee, Kevin Israel back after another fun-filled episode. I hope you guys enjoyed The Ring, which is airing right now this week, our Halloween episode, as well as other films we've done: Commando, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Whiplash.
What are these people? Ugh.
That nasally drone is none other than the second best co-host on Morning on Compound Media, our friend, our chum, our whipping boy, Bill Schulz. Hi, Bill.
Thank you guys so much for having me. And our mutual friend, my co-host on Morning, Joanne Nosuchinsky. And this is pathetic. I texted her saying, hey, could you retweet what we're doing tonight? Because I really want people that love Tom Hanks to come in and like hate me. But I prefaced it with saying, hey, sweet baby angel. Preface it with that. And she goes, all right, I will do it, but never call me sweet baby angel again. And
I agree with her.
No, it's delightful.
No,
so now I'm calling her like sour old woman devil. And she prefers that, but like, yeah, she did not like Sweet Baby Angel. I think it's delightful.
I'm all with Joanne on this one.
Sweet Baby Angel is what a guy. It's what a guy would say he when he got caught cheating on his wife, and he has to come up with a new nickname to show how much he loves her.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's why I like it. Thanks for having me, guys.
Oh, it's always a pleasure. The fans love you.
They tolerate me. They don't like my voice or my opinions.
They enjoy Bill Schulz and his rhetoric. And Bill has an absolute morning boner for a little probably one of the best actors of our time, Kevin Israel. I would say that. Oh, without question. And that's Tom Hanks.
You're starting off hot.
And he hates the 1988 classic Big. Can you believe this? Wow.
This is gonna cause a thing. There's been some movies that have caused problems, but this is gonna be up there with Goonies.
You think so?
First of all, I would never do that's terrible. Well, but, all right. I did listen to the Goonies one, and it was discussed a little bit, but I do wonder and I love Goonies. It shaped my childhood.
That explains a lot.
Well.
That's a low bar for your childhood.
I had my nephews watch it, and I got to tell you, they were a little bored.
Because it's boring.
It is boring. We're a complete agreement.
Yeah.
It's a boring film. A lot of screaming, and a lot of that doesn't happen. A lot of that doesn't happen. All right. And of course,
whoa, let's get started.
Oh, okay.
I
Fair.
actually,
Hold on.
for you, made a lot of that doesn't happen.
Oh, you know how to get your way right into my heart when you
I
quote it,
did.
when you're bringing our own segments into the lexicon. God, I want to
Mhm.
hate you and I love you. Big 1988 budget at the time of $18 million, a box office haul of $151 million. 2021 money, $41 million budget, a box office haul, $344.2 million. That's a lot of shekel. That's a lot of
Yeah.
shekel. A lot of shekels, as Kevin Israel's people like to say.
That'll get you a lot of plays at the fortune teller machine.
I think it was a quarter. Yeah.
By the way, I think 88 was about the year, or even 87 for all of us old fucks. That was the year I remember that video games started going from a quarter to 50 cents.
Yes.
I was very confused to go insert 2 quarters to play Double Dragon. What has gone on? Inflation?
Yeah, that really messed up some kids' economies.
Oh, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Then you start playing games like the what's the skater? Top Skater. It's a buck. Like 1998.
When Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles come out? Because I spent a lot of money on that.
1990 or 91. No. Yeah, 90 or 91. It's right around when the.
You mean the
so
Simpsons
2 years
game?
after.
No, that
was
too.
huge.
Same boat. Same exact boat. Both multiplayer.
The NBA Jam was
but listen,
groundbreaking.
But at least you had 4 quarters, and that was it. 4 physical quarters. X-Men, another one that sucked out a lot of quarters.
Yes.
Ninja Turtles, Simpsons, X-Men. I mean, those were the 3 biggest offenders where you probably shoveled in about $5 to $10. Oh, Terminator 2, they're going with the guns. Woof, that got you late.
Yes.
Oh, we could sit here and talk 80s, 90s video games, and I will beat off in front of everybody.
I am that demo.
Me too. We don't tell you what. Gutting the Sacred Cow.
Because Bill was 27 in the 80s, hanging out in arcades, hoping to get some kids.
You know what? Group field trip to Barcade. Group field trip to Barcade. All 3 of us.
Down.
Sign
me up.
Arcade.
Bunch of barcades.
Yes, Kevin Beard. All right, very quick story. I used to work at Stuff Magazine. Kevin Beard was my art director, and he love him, but he has a bit of a speech impediment. He's like, I've been thinking of opening a bar with old school arcade games. I'm like, all right, Kev, whatever. Like, we all have friends that are like, I'm going to open a bar. We all have those friends. And now, well over 20 years later, he is a multimillionaire.
Good for him.
No, not good for him.
Yeah, it's nice to see it work out once in a while.
Anger and jealousy do you not understand, Israel?
Bill, this is why you've aged past your lifetime.
Oh, yeah.
You hold all that angst. Just let it go. Just be happy for people.
I am on borrowed time at this point.
Something tells you
anger is the only thing that's keeping me alive.
Something tells you this podcast is going to go over an hour. I don't know about you, Kevin, but I think it's well over going to be destined for an hour. IMDb. We even got to that, the second part of the show. IMDb, as we all know, a 1 through 10 scale with decimal points. Hey, Bill Schulz, what do you think that Big scored on the old IMDb?
90.
With decimal points, dingbat. 1 through 10 decimal points.
Oh, 1 through 10. I'm sorry. It's got to be a 9.
9 flat. Kevin Israel.
Everyone loves this fucking thing. This atrocity.
I say 9.3.
7.3.
Wow.
7.3?
Really?
That's revisionist history. People watch it again. They realize how disturbing it is.
Critics' Rotten Tomato score is a 1 through 100 scale. Kevin Israel, the floor is yours. What did Big score?
82.
Bill Schulz.
I love it when Israel does it first. So I will say 84.
97.
What? What? You can't take that win. I'm sorry.
I take that win. I got above you. I take that win.
Audience score, Bill Schulz. What did Big get on the audience Rotten Tomatoes score?
88.
Kevin Israel.
The critics gave it a 97.
I was as flummoxed as you are.
No, that makes sense.
I would have thought it was
This is
flipped. I would have
beloved.
thought the audience gave it the really high, unless the audience.
Unless they went up 97 or above, which you're about to try and guess.
I can't believe it's above 97. I'm gonna go 90.
Schultz?
Well, I said 88, but now that he said 90, I'm going to say 91.
Well, God, you're right. You did say 80. 82 for the audience.
Fuck! Oh,
I'll take that win.
Because I changed my response.
I'll take that win.
Israel
Well,
wins.
you should be more confident in yourself.
Kevin Israel said 82 for the critics, by the way. I just want to point that out. Quotes the obvious, I wish I was big, which is exactly what Bill says as he wears Joanne's blazers on the show from time to time.
It's actually true.
She told me that she told me that story on last Friday when we were hanging out. Bill can actually.
I'm so pissed. I missed the Friars Club.
Yeah, Kevin Israel. Joanne was. We went to the Friars Club, and Joanne was there, and I talked to her because I enjoy talking to her as opposed to her co-host. She admitted that Bill Schulz can fit in her blazers whenever they have a photo shoot.
Okay, in my defense.
She is a 5'5". She's a 5'5"
In my
beauty
defense,
queen.
a very big blazer on her.
She is no more than $125 and 5'5".
Well, Schultz has the physique of a
the
sixth
blazer
grader.
that I wore. Joanne and I were reenacting a very classic scene in Jaws, and the jacket that she wore was a blazer. It was very big on her.
And Bill was playing the air tank that blew up the jaw. Blew up the shark.
Smile, you son of a. Well, he sure was in Captain Quint's doing the Indianapolis speech.
We didn't do that one.
He was the half a man who bobbed by.
Well, I was wearing her, her jacket basically looked like what Quint was wearing in the movie. And so I asked her if I could borrow it, and sadly it fit like a glove. But what we did was we replayed the Hooba drinking this little plastic cup, and Quint drinking the whole can of Narragansett and then crushing it. And the thing about that scene is Narragansett very smartly did an ad campaign where they changed their design to that of the 1975 design of the can for Jaws, whatever anniversary it was. But the reason that scene was a big deal in 1975, and it is not now, because you watch it, you're like, I can crash a can. Even little me that wears Joanne's coats can crash a can. Back then, beer cans were like soup cans.
Yeah.
And they was a different metal, all that. And so back then, it was a big deal. Like, that was cool as fuck. Now, everyone looks at it like, my 12-year-old daughter could do that. But back then, that was a cool move.
That'll be on the editing room floor.
Sorry.
But enough about Jaws.
Oh, give me 5 hours.
Next, that you know what? That's another film that should be listed as bulletproof on our podcast. I dare anyone.
Oh yeah,
I dare anyone
I would
to
never
bring that.
speak to you again if you had someone come on to your podcast.
Oh, we're gonna have them
on.
on. If someone hates them, we're gonna have. Listen, anyone
I know
is
you
welcome.
will. Well, then allow me to come on and retort.
And I know what the argument against Jaws would be.
It's
The
dated.
shark is only in the movie
Oh, yeah,
for 7 minutes.
or it's fake.
That's what makes it great. That's what
Right,
makes it great.
absolutely.
Character
But it was supposed to be in the
development,
movie a lot more.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about
okay,
it.
by the way,
when
anyway.
we do, listen, when we do the
keep
Jaws
talking about
episode,
yourselves, I'll
okay,
show you
now
something
I'm going to take over the goddamn you trying to hijack my show. I'm going to come hijack morning show next Wednesday.
First edition.
The book is boring as shit, by the way.
The book is terrible.
The book is
The
awful.
movie is better than the book. Yeah,
It's way off. It's so bad. It's fun. There's a whole scene where she has an affair with a black guy. I'm like, where's the shark? I don't give a fuck about this.
yeah.
All right. Next quote.
An affair with Hooper.
Yeah. Next quote.
Rick's just on his second quote.
Yeah, I am. Next. Don't worry, it's my second quote and my only other quote. Next one. Rick Rhoden on the hill for the Yankees. Oh, I went back in time on that one there, Bill Schulz. Rick Rhoden on the hill for the Yankees. Right during that late 80s stink fest. And I'm going to get into that later, but that took me right
You
back.
and I have talked about this so many times. The
Yeah.
80s were not bad in the 80s.
They weren't good.
Good enough for your fucking spoiled brattiness of a Yankee fan.
They had no starting pitching. They had great offense. Kevin Israel, what quotes do you have?
Get some air between you and the tramp, Olene. and just because we all knew a guy like or know a guy like this at work, Slow down. You're going to get us all fired.
Oh my God. We call that don't be a hero. We call that
John Lovitz.
Yes.
Don't be a
He had
hero.
a bigger role. And again, we won't get into the extended cut today.
Well, I know the reason why he had a bigger role. Hey, Schultz, what about you for quotes? Anything jump out at you?
Well, the one thing that would always stick out with me is it was a bit of the only mic drop in the movie was, and I'm 3 months older than you, asshole. I enjoyed that one. When Josh, and this is literally what got Tom Hanks the Oscar nomination for the film, is when he breaks down, when he's at that flop house when Times Square was Times Square. And right before he leaves, Billy, the same kid, he looks at him, he's like, but what if I can't sleep? And Billy looks at him and goes, it's probably better if you don't.
Yeah.
I like that. And then the last one is John Lovitz. And when John Lovitz says, oh man, she'll fuck anyone in the office, and she'll wrap her legs around you and make you beg for mercy. And he looks at him and goes, well, then I'll stay away from her. Yeah. And that was kind of adorable.
5 fun facts. Harrison Ford was set to star in this film, and Steven Spielberg was going to direct. Why? Because Steven Spielberg's sister Anne wrote the script to Big.
I did not know that, actually. I knew Spielberg, but I didn't know his sister wrote it.
Now, this has to be one of the best goddamn stories we've ever heard while doing this podcast. You're going to shit who else was considered for this film and the story that takes place with this.
I know.
All right, well, then shut your mouth and smoke your cigarette there, Cancer Boy. Tom Hanks was the first choice for the film, but initially passed because he had too many projects going on. Since you already know this, Bill, don't answer. Kevin Israel, want to take a stab on some of these other names?
It's unreal.
2 of them, 1, 2, 3. I get they're all A-listers, especially at the time. All A-listers.
Oh, you have 3. I
have more than 3. I have more than 3.
I have one that I know was.
Who?
Go ahead, Israel.
Go ahead.
Well, I'll let Israel answer.
I always my fallback is always Tom Cruise.
No Cruise. Schultz, what do you have?
Robert De Niro.
Well, that's
signed, sealed, and delivered to do this.
Wait a minute. That's actually.
By the way, Israel, let that wash over you. Robert De Niro in this character.
Wait, it gets better.
He's gonna have an aneurysm.
It's gonna get better. Consider for the role: Kevin Costner, Warren Beatty.
I didn't know that.
Dennis Quaid.
Warren Beatty.
It's just every 80s actor.
Well, all right.
And Albert Brooks said no because he did not want to play a kid. Travolta wanted to do it, but he was considered box office poison.
Yes.
Gary Busey auditioned, but Penny Marshall. Yeah. That would have been an amazing movie.
Living, breathing Big.
That would have been
fantastic.
Well. But wait, here's the line. Penny Marshall didn't think he could pull off playing an adult. Now,
he's right.
Yeah, he's 100% right. But to Bill's point, De Niro agreed to play Josh. He even hung out with the guy who played his buddy. They shot hoops and shit like that together. De Niro wanted $6 million for this film. All right. Penny Marshall agreed to pay him out of her salary. And then De Niro even said, fuck it, I'm out. Yeah. De Niro said, fuck it, I'm out. So, but De Niro attached to this, the Hollywood profile got raised. And then when Hanks was approached to do it the second time, he agreed to do it. Is that not a hell of a tell events?
No shit. And also, like, what the stupid millennials listening to this right now are not aware of is, in the 80s, for whatever reason, this was just a prime piece of real estate for switcheroo movies. You had Kirk Cameron and Dustin Hoffman.
All right, shut the fuck up. That's what. Hold on, stop. Fun fact number 3. This is the 5th age change comedy to come out in 1 year. Father Like Son, an Italian film called Da Grande, vice versa. George Burns 18 again.
Yes.
I remember.
The Grande means the big.
Yeah. And I've seen Like Father Like Son. I don't know how many fucking times. It's so bad, but I don't know why. It was on a loop on Channel 11, and vice versa is no prize itself. So you're right, Bill. Trying to fucking shoo your way into my 5 fun facts. Not on my watch.
Well, I'm sorry. I know you were going into that. But,
I know.
It actually kind of started in the 70s. The whole, all right, late 60s, early 70s. No, 70s. It all started with Freaky Friday via Disney. And I believe it was, what's her name? Silence of the Lambs girl.
Jodie Foster.
Jodie Foster. And I forget who played the mom, but that was the first one.
Jamie Lee Curtis was in Freaky Friday, wasn't she?
Was she?
I think she was.
I remember watching as a kid, but it's been a long time, and then they obviously remade it. But yeah, and then all of a sudden in the 80s, this was a thing, and Big was the last one of all of them, and it was just, and none of them did that great. Of all these switching kid and an older person's body thing, they were okay, and they did okay at the box office, and Big was the last of them. But it got good press within the industry that the script was good.
Number 4.
And the fact that Spielberg was interested, and I didn't know until he told me that his daughter wrote it. I'm sorry, his sister wrote it.
Tom Hanks, fun fact number 4, Tom Hanks, Robert Loggia practiced for months at home on giant cardboard piano keys. Loggia told the stuntmen for the piano dancing scene to take a hike, and he got this scene and nailed down in, quote, just about one take. Wow.
Whenever you see Robert Loggia on screen, all you smell is like
gin.
Really, really good, like Aqua Velva.
Yeah,
or like some sort of cologne with a little bit of pipe smoke. Like he just exudes that, and I love it.
Describe my dad.
Number 5, Penny Marshall, the first female director to direct a film that made over $100 million.
Yep.
Good for Laverne.
And now it's, by the way, she could never lose that awful, awful Bronx accent, or as Bill Schulz likes to, insinuate something else. We'll get to that, I'm sure.
Constantly on cocaine.
That's true.
Penny Marshall was constantly on cocaine. Yeah.
Let's go to our new segment, and that is where you, the audience, gets to ask our panelists what they think is going on through their mind when they pick their film in Ask a Gutter. Our old buddy Bango at Bango2331. Only one question for Bill Schulz. Why do you hate fun? Do you also hate adorable puppies and ice cream on a hot summer day? Who shits on Big? I guess technically that's 3 questions, but fuck it, I stand by them.
Well, I would tell him to wait till the end of the episode before I can actually answer that. But I will show him exactly why I hate Big. And also, I do hate fun.
That's true. Go to a ball game with him.
Dick.
At J. Lee D's, John D. Does Bill believe he has the stamina and energy to play a song on a giant floor piano? And what song would he attempt to play? I'm going to answer the first half of that. The answer is no. He sucks down cigarettes like he's about to go in the coal mines for a 70-hour shift without coming up for air. The song he would attempt to play, Bill, I'll let you answer that one on your own.
Oh, something from one of Mozart's early piano concertos. Again, I would work up a sweat like that piece of shit heart and soul thing never could give Robert Loggia, Tom Hanks. Like,
you're not.
I would do a workout.
You're not sweating. You're going through alcohol withdrawal.
Well, there's that. Yeah. And also while doing it at an FAO Schwartz, which is probably illegal.
At Almighty Ray Stacanis, our buddy, who we love to death, but boy, is he wrong that he's thinking that the G.I. Joe cartoon film is better than Transformers cartoon film. Shame on you. You're wrong. Big, have you ever danced on one of those floor pianos, Bill? Asked Ray.
Yes. Yeah. I like one of my first visits was right after Big, and we went to New York. My dad is very much a Clark Griswold, and they had it there. And we went on it. It didn't work very well. It was very disappointing. And the thing about FAO Schwartz is it sucks. It used to suck. Yeah. It does. It's like every kid went to Toys R Us.
Mhm.
If you wanted to get raped financially, you go to FAO Schwartz. Toys R Us was a Domino's pizza for kids' toys.
Yeah,
It
but
was
better,
affordable.
but better pizza than the Toys R Us than Domino's Pizza.
They've gotten better.
Oh, really?
I like their bread choices now. Yeah.
You Midwest piece of garbage eating Domino's Pizza when you live in New York City. Ugh, you make me sick. What's a vacation for you? Carnival Cruise Lines capped off with camping after that?
Well, growing up in the burbs of Chicago, our vacation was Cleveland, and I'm not even kidding. Like, we would drive to Cleveland. That's what my dad would show me. Yeah.
I would have asked to get out of the car and go to the nearest firehouse and be put up for adoption.
Well,
That's how Bill got into the family in the first place.
It's true. Next question. Brandon Oglesby at Newark Night, our buddy. He wants to know, Bill, if you went from teenager to grown man overnight, what shenanigans would you have gotten up to?
Oh, I have so much of a response to that, but that's part of my notes. I don't know. Like, I can answer that.
Make it your
now.
note. No. Make it part of your notes. Make it part of your notes.
All right.
And that concludes our Ask a Gutter section. So Kevin Israel, the man is coked out or Adderalled out or some other kind of energy.
All of the above.
Need some coffee in me.
A, B, C, and D.
So now it's time to let Bill Schulz to come on and do. Let's see if he can do it for us. Is this the second time he can go for it? Kevin
I've
Israel.
only gutted the sacred cow once.
That's what I thought it was. Kevin
Yeah.
Israel, it's now time for Bill Schulz to gut
The
sacred
cow.
Thanks for having me, guys. And I will start my argument by actually asking a question. Would we put this in a category of a comedy?
Would I? Boy, I would put it as a frolicking adolescent story.
That's not a category.
Yeah, I mean,
Is it a comedy or not?
if you break everything down into what horror, action, drama, and comedy,
It's a
then
comedy.
yes, this would fall into a comedy.
Okay, then let me ask you this, and not even, and there's always revisionist history because most comedies don't age well. Even at the time when you first saw it, tell me a scene where you laughed out loud. One scene.
When
There
when he
There we
when
go. There we
when-
go. All right,
when he-
so begins my argument.
when he comes dancing in after getting laid, I laughed.
When he said also when she walks in, he goes, "You have bunk beds?" He
You
goes,
didn't laugh.
"But I got the top bunk." Because kids did that.
Yeah, again, that was adorable. But did you really laugh out loud?
Doesn't he say you can be on the bottom or something?
Yeah,
Before
something
she
like that.
Yeah, no,
realizes.
I'm going to be on top. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm laughing now. Revisiting it, but that is my point. This thing has a lot of like nostalgic, not even nostalgic, but like heart-hitting scenes, and that is what Penny Marshall is very good at. And I will see you big, and then I would go to something like A League of Their Own. League of Their Own is supposed to be a comedy. When have you ever laughed at A League of Their Own?
Oh, no.
One scene. Give me
Tom-
one.
I'll give you plenty. Tom Hanks as the manager is hilarious. John Lovitz as the scout
One
is
scene.
funny.
Well,
No.
so how
John
Tom
Lovitz
Hanks
is
hilarious
fantastic in that movie.
Oh, come on,
You like his
milkmaids.
character.
I laughed at his jokes.
What was the joke?
Come on, milkmaids, let's get going. Then Dottie Henson, he makes the face when he sees her when she moves the hair out of her face. Tom Hanks
You
goes,
did.
yes,
you
I
did
did,
not
and
laugh.
I still do. And I'll tell you, I'll give you another one. He goes, I was in the John reading my contract, and then and then he does the whole thing. It's Hanks is a manager.
You're proving my point.
No. Well, here's the best line of the entire film. Avoid the clap, Jimmy Dugan. That's the best line and funniest line. I will still
It's
laugh
great
at.
advice, but I guarantee you, and I promise you do not laugh out loud.
I still do.
And here's what Penny Marshall is very good at is she will tug at your heartstrings, put the onus of a comedy on the actual movie she's doing, but there ain't nothing funny about it. The other problem is the casting. Now, Tom Hanks made this movie, and as much as I hate Tom Hanks, he made this movie because he was charming, and he did, and I loathe to give him credit, an okay job. Otherwise, other than that, the casting was terrible. Elizabeth Perkins is supposed to be this person, and this is a thing that they give in the movie. as they do Working Girl, which came out right after Big, which is the only way you're going to be a success is to sleep your way to the top. And that is for a character from the beginning to the end. And the problem with that, too, is if she's going to be that great, and this is me being horrible, but make her attractive and make her look like the character that she is. She dresses like almost someone who just had left a Mormon compound, which many women did back in the day, as 80s office wives. And you're supposed to think that she's the A office slut that only sleeps her way to the top, and then B somehow changes because she's got this man baby that loves everything that's in her limo, and then she goes to his place and asks if it is indeed his place, and then somehow changes, but she doesn't change. She doesn't change at all from the beginning to the end of the movie, nor really does Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks goes from getting laid and having to sprint his step after he leaves the elevator and wearing better suits to just all of a sudden immediately being like, I want to go home because Billy told him he had to. And that alone is hard to take and hard to watch and hard to hold on to the entire plot line, which is lost because of his mom. His poor fucking PTSD suffering mom. And you have to, if you're going to put a lot of pathos into this type of comedy, then you do it. His mom is under the impression that he got kidnapped by a guy that is wearing his underwear. Wearing his underwear.
Which Bill could have fit into.
Well, yeah. Why did I agree with that? And then they never ask for ransom. He never even thought to do that. So under her mind, he is either being fucked by his kidnappers or his kidnappers are selling him off to child sexual trafficking to be fucked by other people so that they could profit. Why else would you kidnap a small kid? And that would be national news. All we ever see him is on a milk carton towards the end of the movie to show that this is a plot line that never gets fixed. And his mom, and he comes back, and it's just like his mom's like, oh, there you are. And he writes her once, which is a little bit clever in the sense that his handwriting would be the same, but he tries to call her and heighten his voice, which she didn't buy. And so he just pretends that his younger version is saying to him what he should tell his mom. His mom is going to be in a fucking insane asylum 2 years after that instance occurred. Elizabeth Perkins is also PTSD. She fucked a 12-year-old. I mean, I don't want to get into it too much because everyone does, but she did. She sees him change, realizes she fucked a 12-year-old. Sorry, 13. Big difference. And I didn't want to bring it up, but like the revisionist end scene for Big is that he goes back to Zoltar and wishes that she becomes young. And they film this. And you can find it, I think, on YouTube. And the very idea, when she already had told him that she hated childhood, because childhood sucks, by the way. And she comes back to the class. She goes into
all those Cleveland vacations really took a toll on young Bill Schulz, huh?
Yes. And I'll get to that. Actually, I will flip forward to that. There was a big thing in the 80s, and it culminated with Big, which was finding your inner child. And it was very much a boomer thing. It was these spoiled boomers that were hippies at one point. They hated themselves for being the corporate people they were in the 80s and making all this money. And they wanted to find their inner child. It's very much akin to being mindful and being present now. That's like kind of the fucking thing that's now. So, but that back then it was that. And it was very much Spielberg. Spielberg did this bullshit inner child thing with E.T. and every fucking movie he did up until Hook, when he realized, all right, the ship has sailed. I look like a fucking prick. And he ended it with that, and then he started doing stuff like Schindler's List. Other guy would be Michael Jackson. And this is before we put all the obvious points together that Michael Jackson was indeed a pedophile, and Pee Wee Herman. So you had all those things coming together, and so you have Big. And the whole point of Big is that this guy goes against the corporate narrative and bees himself and says, I don't get it. And because of his kid energy and embracing his inner child and looking at the world with this innocent wonder, that's what we all need to do. And I am here to tell you that is the worst messaging in the history of messaging. For one reason only, I am Josh Baskin. I am Josh Baskin in every way that you can be Josh Baskin, but I am Josh Baskin that said fuck you to Zoltar and just stayed 30. And I am now Josh Baskin at 46. You're not like that. They did not get what a kid is. And at 13, you're kind of starting to be into girls if you've gone through puberty, or you pretend to be in girls because your buddies are, but you're not into toys. And you're certainly not into what Josh was doing to get himself through the toy company. That was completely false. And everything that you would want to be pulled into the movie after the weird Zoltar premise, you can't be. And again, going back to the initial question, when did you laugh? You got your iconic scenes with the piano. You got your iconic scenes with him, which was adorable, him wiping off his shoes when indeed his mom was just freaked out by the fact that this is Tom Hanks, not my son. But there's no funny in this supposedly funny movie. And it takes you out of it every scene because you realize that this doesn't work. This whole thing took place at 6 weeks. And he found a way to learn how to buy Armani suits, take a social security number, file a W-9, buy a loft, and learn how to fuck in 6 weeks. While his poor mom was about to kill herself and thought that he was just being railroaded by kidnappers who wouldn't ask for money, just wanted Josh to do the math on that one, Mom.
Meanwhile, he was doing the railroading, right?
Hey-o.
And the one other thing I would say is like the overall message too is like, you know, Josh makes his name one by meeting his boss at FAO Schwartz, but also by saying, I don't get it. I don't get it. When the dude from Home Alone is doing his presentation, I actually ended up sympathizing for the guy. But Josh says, I don't get it. And that gets him the promotion because he doesn't get what the guy is promoting. He wants to transform it and turns it into a building. And that in of itself is such a bad messaging thing. I've been in corporate advice before, and I've adopted a little bit of that attitude because, again, I'm Josh Baskin at 46. That is going to get you on the sidewalk in 5 minutes. That doesn't work. You don't say I don't get it. You know, you keep your mouth shut and your eyes open and you toe the line. If someone had told me that rather than me watching Big and adopting some of these inner child ideas, maybe I'd be a success and not have a roommate, boys.
Give me number 1 to 10. Oh, you have one final here.
Well, the alternative name for the movie would be A Good Man Is So Hard to Find, So I'll Fuck a 13-year-old Boy Instead. But it's wordy, so they chose Big.
Written by Jeffrey Epstein.
Yes. But I would say when I first saw it, it was a close 10. Now, I'd say it's about a 6 or a 5.
Well, let's narrow it down.
5. There you go.
You know, where someone with such venom for a film after he spewed it, a 5? Oh.
Well, wait, I thought, but we're going to 10, right? That's like
yes. Yeah,
you're not passing. I got a 50 on most of my tests.
But the way you came up with such vitriol, I expected like a 2 or a 3 out of you.
I'm disappointed in hindsight. Yes.
These notes brought to you by guttingthesacredcow.com, where every week you find fantastic articles like the aforementioned That Doesn't Happen, movie news, trailer talk. This week we're going to be talking Morbius, I believe, is a new trailer, as well as other films that we've seen.
Terrible.
Well, we'll discuss it in trailer talk. And films we've seen like Dune. 2-word sentence. It's nothing.
Oh,
was beautiful.
I have no interest.
Beautiful.
Do you like it?
No. Nope.
Yeah.
Didn't care
I never
about
saw
any of
that.
these. Beautiful. It's very beautiful. It's very beautiful.
Visually, it was amazing. Story-wise, it was a letdown.
It's Avatar level technology and wow. But the plot, you're like, I don't care. A few cool things. By the way, Star Wars
It's a
fingers.
sci-fi movie. It's a
Right.
sci-fi novel that came out in like 63.
Yeah.
And like,
The Star Wars fingerprints on this are very rampant.
yeah.
Okay, notes. I absolutely hated those RPG games like Zork, like the ones he was playing. I fucking hated those. Open treasure, turn door. Oregon Trail, though, different story. Thoroughly enjoy that one, but I hate those. I know you. Yeah, who didn't? Kevin Israel. I bet you love those RPG games like the one he was playing.
I think we just got to the root of the difference between Kevin Gootee and Kevin Israel.
I know.
I love those games.
I knew you did. I knew.
I love them.
I see it. I totally see it.
Yeah, I can't stand those. His name is Josh Baskin. Now, how cool would it be if his mom's name was Carol Baskin? She'd answer the phone. Hey, hello, all you cool cat and kittens. Now, that would be great. The first, I believe, 2 minutes or so, I screamed out, that doesn't happen. And Bill Schulz, I know you're on board with me. With a part where he says they're opening baseball cards. He goes, give me your gum. And he gives him the gum and he folds it in half. Notice the key word I used, fold. Every single piece of gum. Thank you. It was stale. Yeah. It was like eating cardboard. That shit snapped like it's like a straw. That thing, and it just
and
folded
God forbid the gum was attached to a Mark McGuire, and A, ruined the card, and B, the gum is not edible. Yeah, that
doesn't happen.
Yeah,
is this the same ginger, his buddy Josh's friend? Is that the same ginger who helped Edward Furlong hack into an ATM to play video games in the mall in Terminator 2? I don't know. I'm too lazy to look that up.
It might have been. You know what? It might have been
Pete and Pete or Peter Pete, whatever that was. I forgot this movie was the reason that song "Shimmy Shimmy Cocoa Pup" made a reemergence. I hate that fucking song.
I love it.
Oh, it's so. Of course you do. Of course you do.
Chet Hayes learned how to rap.
Oh, good. Thanks, Josh Baskin Schultz.
I didn't even know that was a real song.
I remember when this came out, people started singing it in the playground. I go, what the fuck? And I hate, it's still bad. The carny who would not let Josh on the ride is a complete douche. And I hope his parole officer was a ball buster who made him piss test every single day.
Without a doubt. And by the way, that's another, this doesn't happen. When you're 13, you're getting on every ride. And remember when Josh doesn't get on because of his height?
Yeah.
The height is about if you're borderline midge. Right. We're talking 3 feet. You got to be like maybe 6, 7 years old. There's no 13-year-old that can't get on any ride.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen.
Yeah. Nope. Seeing kids play arcade games, that always puts a smile on my face. Always. Get ready for another That Doesn't Happen. And Kevin Israel, this one's going to be right up your alley in another month. A screeching baby, a mere 6 feet away from Josh, and he's out cold sleeping. That doesn't happen unless he's on NyQuil and heroin, because that'll send, that's like a tongue in your butthole, as David Tellis says. A tongue in your ass, and you are wide awake.
That was the worst home arrangement I'd ever seen.
Yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't like they were paupers.
Right.
But he had to share a bedroom with his baby sister.
Yeah.
And that's the only time
in a house
we even are aware that he has a sibling.
Yeah.
It's like an unnecessary plot point.
They don't have a 1-bedroom in fucking Williamsburg, Brooklyn. Right. That's insane. Yeah. They have a house in
I'll go stay in the attic, Mom.
Yeah. I was just going to say, in the basement I go.
Yeah.
Boys playing shirts and skins basketball in the 80s, or as Bill Schultz calls that, his #1 search term on porn sites.
Number 2.
What's one?
Boys playing skins and skins.
Hard to find. But actually, yeah.
How amazing of a beating would it have been if the coach had walked in with grown-up Josh talking to his buddy in the equipment closet? That would have been a thorough melee, and that Josh would have gotten his fucking dick kicked in the next week. And Megan Law and Megan's.
I was reading online. Someone had a great fan fiction thing, and I hate myself for looking this up, where a grizzled cop, was looking for Josh Baskin that had just left a toy meeting that was 30 years old, but also a Josh Baskin that had been kidnapped in a suburban Long Island neighborhood. And after 20 years of work, he realized that indeed it was the same person. And has to find.
And they were vampires
from there, and he thinks he's going crazy. And because remember,
and
when
then
Tom Hanks leaves to become a kid again, he's now officially missing. The adult Josh Baskin.
And then he pulls out a gold cigarette lighter, it unfixes his CP, and then walks into an open limo.
Yep, that's
Why is there a gut reaction immediately to head to the city if they have no idea where this machine is? What's the only thing they didn't do is yell, "There's gold in them Dar Hills." Why is the city the answer? Wouldn't you go to your local council like they did to go find the Zoltar machine? Why would you not go to your local township and go, who gave the permits for this place? Let's start small. Let's go local. We're still on the trail instead of just picking a direction and running. How is the ginger kid able to cut his school this often without his parents getting a phone call, him being grounded or killed by a vagabond?
That is addressed in the extended cut.
All right. We'll find out.
From a broken family.
Okay.
By the way, I don't care. All you want is Tom Hanks. You don't want more of the kids.
Speaking of,
that they delete these scenes. Yeah.
Now it makes sense because in my next question, how much did this kid steal to float Hanks while he lives in this city? Is this kid muling drugs while he throws newspapers in the morning too? Where is he getting all the money to give to Hanks? Hey, did John Lovitz ever have a full head of hair? I need to know. Was it right after his bar mitzvah and then he lost it all and that was it? Or because
that's good.
Richard Gere was born with gray hair and Lovitz was born bald.
Yeah. So I guess
you not seen him there?
In 1988, I guess Star 69 wasn't invented yet because when he called her from his office, all the mom had to do was, "Oh, okay, sure. Click star 69. Oh, hello, toy company. Someone just called. They're pretending to be a kidnapper."
Like when you think about it, it took him all of 5 minutes to convince Billy that he was indeed young Josh in this body. Well,
from that song.
The woman that made him. And by the way, let's go back to that scene. His mom thought she was going to be raped by her son, who's now in Tom Hanks' form. That was a scene. She thought she was, remember, she holds up her blouse. She thought she was going to be raped by the guy that's actually her son. But when you think about it, this is the woman that made you. So you convince Billy within 5 minutes that you are who you say you are. I'm thinking you might be able to convince your mom. Just sit her down and and she's the one with the money that can help you out with this and maybe help you find Zoltar. I think you convince your mom.
No, I think a child with an imagination and the desire to believe in that kind of stuff is much more likely to believe it than a mother who has an adult. No, I disagree.
I can't wait for the Darren Aronofsky reboot where Josh Baskin does in fact rape his mother.
A lot of it, look, there's a lot of psychological things going on there. Very segment.
Next question I have: where the fuck did Tom Hanks get an ID to cash his check for work?
Yeah. Well, how the fuck did he get that place? And also, when you make up a social security number, you know what's really easy to find out? That you made up a social security number. And he did this for, I guess it was.
I remember Photon when we were younger, right? But I remember that's what the poor kids had because laser tag was where it was at. Yes. That's where it was at. And what store is cool with you running around like a bunch of ass clowns playing laser tag? Because if you know one, Kevin Israel and I will plan a field trip post haste.
I want to adamantly say that the laser tag pistol was the coolest toy gun ever made.
Yes, sir.
I have,
Yes, sir.
I have zero argument with your
Wholeheartedly agree.
zero argument. Over under number of times after this film came out, FAO Schwartz employees go, fuck. Here's another dildo tourist from Georgia trying to play Heart and Soul on the keyboard.
Mhm.
That
You
is
don't think they got tired of that?
Yeah. Fuck you and your University of Georgia hat. By the way,
There's a great Simpsons version of that where Homer tries to do "I Love Rock and Roll" on the FAO Schwartz piano. Instead of everyone loving it, they all throw things up.
by the way, the absolute best use of a secretary in a film or in real life is in this film. Quote, would you go and get a copy of the 1986 Giant Super Bowl?
Yes, I knew you were going to get that. I knew you were going to.
Bill, if you don't remember, that's the one where the Bears got bounced in the first round that year. I love a good point shitting in corporate America meetings. I almost beat off to that when Hanks did that to John Hurd, because nothing makes me happier when I have seniority and I can do that to people when they're trying to slide some bullshit by me. I can't do that though if it's a senior member. But boy, I was salivating going, yes, you tell me you don't get it because this is shit. And you
Bad messaging.
I love it. I love it.
Bad PSA.
I love it.
Yeah.
He's right. It's a building that transformed. Listen, GoBots had a building that transformed, and we all know what we think of the GoBots. Kmart.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But also, like, the toys that Tom Hanks came up with were shit. First of all, Transformers had already come up with a bug that transforms.
Insecticons.
Yes, thank you. And the other thing was, basically, it was a choose your own adventure, which we all have those books, but on a sort of like a iPad, basically. That was his big idea. And
revolutionary at the time.
Yeah, he invented the iPad, Bill.
Yeah. Eat shit, Steve Jobs, and your cancer.
Yeah.
He wins.
First of all, if he invented the iPad, awesome. But no, he invented a comic book that would do choose your own adventure. If he'd used that technology for good rather than that stupid shit,
I think
maybe
it's
he'd be
cool.
onto something.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. And for the record, the
That was a bad
Transformers
toy,
did
yeah.
have the Transformers did have a building that transformed. It was called
Did they?
Metroplex. It was Metroplex.
It was a
They
no,
were
it was
graphics
it was
The
a
whole
city.
city.
It had to be
It was a
like
city.
the early
City.
90s Transformers.
Wasn't just it was a city. You're right, because I had Metroplex.
So did I.
So that was one of the baddest ones of them all, wasn't it?
Oh,
Yeah.
Bill's holding up Grimlock.
No, Grimlock was the Tyrannosaurus.
My brother and I talked about this.
No.
Apparently this is a Grimlock.
No, that's
Grimlock was
sludge.
a Tyrannosaurus
Sludge.
Rex.
That's sludge.
Sludge,
That's
yep.
sludge.
Yeah.
Brontosaurus. Yeah, sorry. I thought it was Grimlock.
But by the way,
Sludge.
they're made so badly that I can't transform it into the actual robot because it is so
Beat up.
delicate and things are falling off it all the time. It is stuck in
it's like you, Bill.
Yeah. Oh, very much so. Yeah.
Well played. Time out. We have a pogo ball, and then not even 5 seconds later, we get a Don Mattingly sighting in this movie. Automatic 1 point increase right then and
Wait,
there.
I don't remember the John Manley part.
Because when they're at the game, they show Mattingly holding the runner on first base. I got wood. Love
Only
it.
you know that.
Well, of course I would. I'm a Yankee fan in the 80s. What fuckface drops water balloons on the delivery guy bringing your stuff?
No shit. Yeah.
What's next? You gonna egg the pizza delivery guy? Oh wait, can I get a pepperoni and some eggs over easy? Boo, boo, boo. What a
They
dick.
were quite literally probably making $4 an hour in 1988. And
I don't-
all they're doing is bringing Josh's food.
Well, this is when they were bringing his arcade games and shit. That's when they dropped the water balloons. I'm just saying, why would you egg the guys who are bringing your shit? If you would have called Domino's because it's a trash pizza and egg them just to have fun as a dickhead kid, I get that. But why are you going to egg the guys who are bringing the stuff coming to your place? They're dropping your stuff. Makes no sense.
Not a good look.
Josh, the ginger cut more class than Ferris Bueller did. I'll point that out as well.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Josh's dad, or lack thereof. His dad is nowhere to be found since the initial opening scene at the amusement park, or during the phone calls, which leads me to believe one thing and one thing only. He was out smashing the mom of the blonde girl that Josh was sweating at the carnival.
Okay, now here's my question, because I'm still confused about this. Was that his dad or a guy that his mom was dating? I was under the impression that he had a single mom. That was the guy that he was dating when they were at the carnival, because
I thought
it was his dad too.
You weirdo. That was his dad.
This is becoming
a baby together.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, but then that's another criticism of the movie. What a horribly fleshed out character. All you are focusing on is the mom. I was under the impression she was dating the dude, and that his dad was gone. And because you see him once at the carnival right before he sees Zoltar, and that's it. That is another criticism of the movie. Right.
John Lovett's dancing reminds me of Rodney Dangerfield and dancing in Caddyshack, just not near as funny.
Yes, yeah.
When Tom Hanks was triple dipping at the Christmas party, that must have made people with a 79 IQ piss their pants.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Hanks has and again, he's 2 for 2 with corporate America. He has the exact right reaction that everyone should when a coworker prattles on and on about their career. And the perfect case in point, I cite, gentlemen, 1994's Dumb and Dumber, when I quote Jim Carrey at the bar when the FBI agent's talking to him, "No, and I don't care." That is exactly what Tom Hanks did with other things, a la getting out of the moonroof, playing with the locks, doing everything to ignore her, talk about her dumb career. People, stop it. No one cares what's going on at your dumb job.
Well, I think Dumb and Dumber stole the tuxedo idea from Big.
Fair.
Yeah,
I'll buy that. I did snicker when Hank said to Elizabeth Perkins that he has a bunk bed and he gets on top, because as a real 10-year-old, that means you'll be farting at will with zero repercussions, because the bottom bunk ate a lot of ass gas, because that's what we were all doing when we were forced whenever to sleep in a bunk bed, farting like crazy on people blows. By the way, Tom Hanks's coworker, she is on a clear-cut mission to bang. She leaves the party with them, tolerates his cutesy poo shenanigans in the limo, walks up to the apartment and sees it's decorated like a goddamn autistic college freshman, doesn't have an adverse reaction seeing a Pepsi machine in his apartment. Ugh, Pepsi, disgusting. Michael Jackson is the only person in the world besides her who would still be DTF who walked into an apartment like that.
Well, it is very clear that she just fucks her way to the top from beginning to end.
Exactly. This was just the next link in her chain.
Yes, absolutely. They spell that out.
The woman should have immediately known something was up when they had sex, because he's not going to know how to bang, especially when he blows a load in 4.4 seconds, or as a 13 or whatever year old is, when he would grab her tits and yell, "Auga, auga."
You took my fucking whole note.
That's why I had to go first on this, but I knew it was coming. Next one. Why is his mother not calling every police station in a 20-mile radius and calling every news organization instead of relying on a milk carton? Have you seen me? That is some lazy ass mothering. Maybe she wasn't that broken up about Josh leaving. He goes, you know what? Got a newborn. That's now one mouth to feed instead of two.
Replacement. It would have been national news. National news, particularly if they weren't asking for money. The quote-unquote kidnappers.
Here's my accessories report card on Josh. Thundercats blanket, thumbs up. GoBots pajamas, thumbs down.
Wait. Did you say Thundercats? Hold on.
Thumbs up. Big. I have some.
If you have Lino, I'll give you a lot of credit.
Yes. Where's the glove? Where's the glove? You have the glove still?
I don't want a glove. I found the sword last time I went to my parents' house.
That's great.
Oh, that's the original?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Of course.
Do you have the thing? Do you have the thing that made his eyes light up?
Oh, that red. It was like a red pack that had a ring on this ring on it. Yeah.
Love it.
This is why I don't get laid. That's why everything is wrong with Big.
Oh, this is
Look
why.
at my childlike wonder.
Bill, I hate to
don't
break
get
it to you.
laid.
I've had toys in my house my entire life, and I got laid a lot.
Yeah, me too. I have one in my closet right there in boxes.
Well, I guess I used to when I made money. That's all they care about, ladies and gentlemen.
Listen, are you listening, Anthony Cumia? That's him asking for a raise. Next one.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I screamed at the TV when I saw this. John Hurd and Elizabeth Perkins are driving to work. Who the fuck drives to work in Manhattan? That doesn't
No
happen.
shit. That's a great.
That's a great one. That's a great
Thank
point.
you. Thank
Well,
you.
also seeing people smoking in cars.
I mean,
Really
at the time,
was-
Well, that happened.
yeah, but they're going down Park Avenue. Go, oh no, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Working in an office with a handwritten "Do Not Enter" sign on the door should be standard procedure from here on out in corporate America.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
So this kid is a mess. He's 10 and he loves slaving for corporate America for a few weeks. The first thing I would do if I were his parents after I spanked his ass raw for disappearing. Okay, kids, there's way more fun things in life than busting your hump 50, 60 hours for corporate America. Okay. Go on tour.
That's what they were trying to say, and they did it badly, I think, across the board. But yeah, no, you're right.
Next one, and I've used this before for The Ring, and I'll say it again. He's 10 or whatever, 13. I don't know. He's
13.
whatever. Let's say 13. He's 13.
13.
How the fuck did he learn how to tie a tie at 13? Because I was in my 30s. I finally kind of learned still how to do it, and I have all my ties pre-tied in my closet right now because I'm lazy.
I would do the same thing if I had to. Yes.
It took him one full night to turn into an adult, but 10 minutes to turn back into a kid. Got it. Inconsistency noted.
Yep.
In summary, I saw this when it came out, and I was 11 years old, and I thought it was fine. I think I've seen it once. I think I've seen it once or twice since. I haven't even thought about it. After rewatch, there is no need for sentimentality for this film. It's obviously very cute and quotable. Sorry, and quaint.
Yeah.
But how many quotable lines are there? Next to none besides the piano scene. What memorable scenes are there? This movie is truly cotton candy mixed with General Tso's chicken. Too much will make you sick and not fill you up. And then later, when you're wondering why you decided to eat both and you're pooping Slinkies. I'm not crazy about the saccharine-esque jokes. A lot of that doesn't happen. Forget about him turning into the kid and living that all the other nonsense. I was like, no, that's no. I get it. This story is not about his disappearance, but about his experiences as a kid in New York City are not that exciting. They are not that scary.
No.
Besides hearing an errant gunshot, they are not that adventurous. What jokes is anyone LOLing at? Very, very, very few. If you are a kid, it's fine. If you're an adult who loves watching the TV show Friends, you'll still love this. But I'm neither. So this is a 4 out of 10 for me. It fails the remote test.
Wow. You were lower than me.
It fails the remote test with all power. Never going to watch it again. Don't hate it, but certainly do not get the adoration for this. Kevin Israel, take it away.
Boys, I would also add this, and pun intended, if you're going to go big or go home. So you get this 13-year-old laid, which is pretty fucking controversial even for 1988. Well, then get the kid drunk. Hell, it's 1988. Have him do a line of cocaine at a party.
They got a kid drunk and eat tea.
If you're gonna get him laid, then go the fucking whole 9 yards of what it's like to be in corporate America in 1988 in New York. Do that.
By the way,
and they didn't.
By the way, on the YouTube comments, Rob Saul says Tom Hanks is national treasure. Bill Schultz. Hi, Rob Saul.
Nicolas Cage.
Cute. Kevin Israel, the floor is yours.
Well, you guys didn't leave much meat on this bone, so thanks for
I'm
that.
sorry, I just hate it so much.
No,
you don't hate it that much. You give it a 5. You don't hate it that much.
I don't know. Your rating system is different than mine.
So
5 was a bad rating.
Shut up, Bill. So So one of my first problems with this movie, and Bill started to sort of go into it and then he veered off, is that if you're going to have a movie that's founded in reality with a fantastical element that is the linchpin of the whole movie, I feel like there needs to be some kind of rules or an establishment of an understanding of what this is. You don't have to give the whole thing away. You don't have to explain the history of Zoltan or how that machine got to be magical. You don't have to give the Zoltar. You don't have to give the whole
Zartan. It's like Zartan from G.I. Joe.
You don't have to give away the whole ghost on it, but some kind of like he just figured out like, oh, if I go back and wish again, it's going to work. Like there was no journey there to get to the point of understanding of what he had to do. And I think if the movie was about that, trying to figure out how does he get to be young again, and if that was his whole goal, this movie might have been a little more compelling. Instead, the movie's about a kid who wishes to be big. And then what does he do? He goes and gets a 9-to-5 job in New York City where he grinds away to make it to middle management. And he's happy making $115 a week or whatever it was. And
it was about that. Yeah.
And that's, so you're telling me that's what a kid dreams about? He dreams about the life we're all looking to avoid? That is horrifying. Like at least if he was, if he when he became big, if he went and joined the army because he wanted to be a pilot, or he went and tried to get into NASA because he wanted to be an astronaut, or he went and tried to be an adventurer, like that's something a kid who wanted to be big would do. You went and get a job. I didn't see this movie when I was a kid because I remember the advertising and I didn't get it because I never wanted to be an adult, and I still don't. I didn't want to be an adult. I liked being a kid. I liked. And Bill, it is a fantastic point you made about when you were 13, you were at this weird crossroad where you still had one foot in being a kid and one foot in I have a boner all the time.
Yes.
And,
oh god.
And I was I definitely I held on to those toys a little too long.
I did
and
too.
I remember I think I must have been about 12 and my mom was like, I think you should start getting rid of some of these. And I was like, it was like she was telling me to like shave my head. I was like, why? What else is there in life besides like I have Metroplex and I have the G.I. Joe Mobile Command Center.
Yes!
I have the 2 best toys ever made. I'm not getting rid of any of this. So it's a great point that he probably wouldn't have been so out about it. And
at all. Yeah.
And it feels like he probably should have been like a 10-year-old kid, maybe going on 11, but making him a 13-year-old kid, I feel like he would have behaved differently once he became big. He definitely would have tried seeing like girls naked. Like, because once you were 13, like that was the mystery. 13, 14, that was all you could think about. That was the mystery. So that was a strange way to get us into him being kid. But I feel like they were also trying to aim at the demographic of like the 12 to 14-year-old kids. So, because this movie wasn't for 10-year-old or 11-year-olds. This movie was for 14 and up, and to appeal to that whole, and to appeal to adults like us who remember wanting to be big. But again, I don't think it plays out. The character arcs in this and Bill already touched on it. Not great. Josh goes back and forth about whether or not he wants to be. He just suddenly makes this turn where he's like, okay, I'm an adult now, and he's cool with it. And then suddenly he suddenly wants to be young again because he hears from his friend. And Susan goes from being a blatant ladder fucker to sort of, and by the way, that's the message in this movie. Like, hey, if there's a successful woman, she got there because she slept her way to the top, and she's going to keep doing it.
100%.
And she never even acknowledges, like, you know what, like, this is what I did, and I'm talented. I'm successful. I should have gotten here on my own. Like that. That's never established.
Apparently
it's never
she's
established
not talented at all. She's got a great pussy. Yeah,
that's
it. Yeah.
Right. So that was. But again, it was the 80s, so I guess they were comfortable with kind of leaving it at that. Yeah. And then when she realizes that she had sex with a 13-year-old, which we've all touched on, and she touched on it a lot. When she realizes that, she just kind of goes. Ugh. Like, that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
That's her whole.
She should have had the.
Yeah.
She should have had. Hold on, that's great. She should have had the same reaction when Ace Ventura realized that.
That's
Einhorn
where I was
a
going.
man.
You took my fucking joke.
I'm sorry.
Piece
I'm
of
sorry.
shit.
I'm sorry.
You
I'm sorry.
Piece of shit.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't know that. I had no idea you were going to go that way. I really didn't know you were going to go that way. And I'm sorry.
Yes, she should have been. I was going to say crying game. Yeah,
Okay.
she should have been. She should have been disgusted and horrified, and there should have been a bigger moment about her realizing that she was a pedophile, and there just wasn't. And then when she sees him as a child, first of all, I don't care if you were ready for it. That's the biggest mind fuck ever. She should have a breakdown, but she saw magic happen. And then she saw the child she had sex with, and she's still like, that whole scene was just batshit crazy. But I want you I want you to remember that there's two stories going on here in this movie. There's the story of the kid who becomes big and gets to go have this fun life, even though it doesn't seem like a lot of fun to me. And then there's the mother at home aching over her lost, possibly dead child, who they only give maybe 5 minutes of screen time to. So every time you see him having fun throwing up squirty string on his friend, or, you know, playing with all the toys, there's a woman at home who can't eat dinner because she's so sick with remorse, and she's so and she has to raise a fucking baby while she's wondering what happened to her. Like, there should have been a second movie made just about her, and it would have been a tragedy.
The amount of damage Josh did by fucking talking to Zoltar. I mean, she's got his mom has got one of two options. He's dead, or he's getting railroaded by a bunch of Taliban motherfuckers in Afghanistan.
By the way, if
over there, child trafficking, and
if they would have made that second movie with Josh's mom, you know, doing all that, it would have had more laughs than the film Big did.
I think you agree with me.
I think the movie should have ended on a really dark, fucked up note, and Josh walked into the house and was like, "Mom," and then he finds her dead, and she killed herself over her lost son. That would have been the way to end this movie and make everybody go, "What the fuck did I just watch?" Yeah. That took a dark turn real quick.
Just seen her spinning from a fan. You
just see the silhouette of her hanging in the window, and him going, "Mom," and
she slumped over in a chair with a needle stuck in her arm, slumped over, watching Days of Our Lives.
But then there's also an awesome story to think about, that if the cops ever did track it down and figure out that Josh was somehow tied to this, and they decide, well, we're going to have to prosecute him because he clearly kidnapped the kid and the kid's dead, it would have never been proven what the actual truth was until the invention of the Innocence Project. So it would have been like, he would have been in prison for like 25 years until somebody did some DNA testing and went, holy shit, this is the kid. We've kept him in. And by then he would have been in his 50s, like maybe almost 60. That also would have been a movie that I think I would have rather seen.
Single-handedly turned this delightful comedy into a mixture of like Law and Order SVU and a Lifetime movie.
I told you, Darren Aronofsky reboot. Get ready for it. And Josh's mom's in it. Josh's mom has to become a whore, and she does a double-ended dildo ass-to-ass scene.
She loses the house. She can't keep her life together. She has to revert to porn. I like it. That's where we're going. So just a couple of funny things that I noticed in the movie that bothered me a little bit. So he had a crush on this girl. So he was 12, and he had a crush on this girl who looked like she was probably about 13. They were in the same school. And she was dating a guy who could drive. She was dating a guy who was at least 16, if not 17, and she was 13. What the fuck is going on? This whole movie is just about pedophilia and statutory rape. Like,
yes, and also like, and again, that's what scares the shit about me about this whole movie is like, I dig older chicks, and I look at Josh digging the girl at the carnival, the little older, like the guy that was driving, and then went full throttle with Elizabeth Perkins.
Wait, and speaking of, hey, Bill, watch me shit on Kevin's point. Hey, Kevin, how much older are you than your wife?
Yeah, but I didn't get with her till she was 25.
I know.
No, it's Leo. Yeah.
And yes, she's 8 years younger than me. And so when I was 13, she was 5.
Yep.
And I just watch this
And
extended
we play this
bullshit.
game all the time.
I just watch this extended bullshit for you guys. And I'm still trying to remember, doesn't she, at the end of the movie, do the math like, well, by the time that you're like 22, I'll be this. Doesn't she do like sort of that math?
I feel
game,
like that did happen. I agree with you.
I think it did.
I feel like I was
Which
waiting
is a
for
new
that.
layer of fucked up.
Yeah, right. Well, and speaking of that, so Josh, as a 13-year-old, had sex with an adult woman. And now when he gets to the age where he can have sex again, he's going to be so disappointed. It's going to be
Wait.
letdown after letdown.
You made a great point because
Also,
wait, hold on,
remember
wait.
the press
Watch
pause
this, Bill.
part
Hold
of
on,
it.
watch this. He's gonna go to school. Hey man, what'd you do? I fucked some 35-year-old. What? Like he's gonna be the fucking belle of the ball when he goes to school until he's I don't know, in county college at least.
Well, who's going to believe it? I mean, like, you know what? Honestly, Gootee is the equivalent of the Canadian girlfriend.
Niagara
So he's
Falls.
going to tell people in school, oh, guys, I woke up and I was an adult and I had sex with this VP at a toy company. I don't think they're going to buy it.
But
I don't think they're going to buy it.
I tell you what, she's such a slut. I bet he took pictures while fucking her.
You're putting your mind into that of a 13-year-old wonderful kid that became 30. How dare you?
Wouldn't you take Polaroids of boobies when you had the first chance to? I know I would at 13.
Polaroids was so much more difficult. It's a lot easier with the phone. But well, and then and also to Israel's point, like, so now he's gotten laid, and all points seem to say that he would get laid a lot with her for the 6 weeks they were dating. Then he's got this huge pause because there's going to be a bunch of years where he's not getting laid again.
Oh, this is going to be the biggest dry spell ever.
Is going to fuck you up. Like,
Yeah, no,
I don't know. I don't know about that because once you get that stench of virginity off you, it was a lot easier to get laid after that. We all can attest to that. Even you, Bill.
but I mean,
me too.
But he's not he doesn't have a pool of options around him.
Right.
I know.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, until he gets to about 17, and he's by then his head will have popped off from just being horny for 4 years.
Without a
straight.
doubt. And also, I will say this too: he was a sweet kid. He was a good guy. Guess what doesn't work in high school? Sweet kid.
Yeah.
Good guy.
Thank you. I love and hate John Hughes films for giving young Kevin the wrong idea who didn't get laid until much later than should have. Thanks, John Hughes.
Oh, that's across the board. Yeah. But I've spent way too much time thinking about the vast period of not getting laid island that he will be on.
Or as Bill calls
I
it,
hate myself for thinking about it.
or
I
as
hate
Bill
myself
calls
for
it,
thinking about it.
or as Bill calls it, 2019 and 2020.
Oh,
2020.
2019 to 2021. It's ongoing.
So my last point is this: if I was going to make a movie about something along these lines, I think it would be much more interesting to see my wish would be. I want to go back to when I was 16 or 15 with the knowledge that I have now.
Oh,
That would be a much more right.
I agree.
Imagine you would rule the world. You would literally rule the world if you just and I'm not even saying like the general knowledge about like, oh, I would just invest in Apple and be a billionaire. Or
yeah,
whatever.
no.
I mean, just the general social
yeah.
understanding.
Yes,
That's a
absolutely.
fascinating movie to make, and you could never make it because again, the movie would, especially now, because the movie would be about a guy who's might be in a 16-year-old body who's banging 16-year-old girls, and that's statutory rape.
yeah, that's
regardless
cool.
of what
That-
the
I-
body
I,
is.
I forgot his character. It was Matthew McConaughey in Dazed and Confused.
Well, and there was a movie with Zac Efron. What's his name from Friends? Chandler.
No,
It was-
I know exactly what you're talking about.
and he makes a wish that he could go back to high school, and he becomes young again, and apparently Chandler Bing looked like Zac Efron when he was in high school, because that makes sense. But he never, you could see where the writers had a problem because there was like a girl who was like a crush on him, and he has to keep pushing her away because they couldn't go there. because it was too creepy to do that. But that's what the story would end up being.
Look like Zac Efron. Well, and also to your point, you're so right. Like all of high school and that entire time in your life is just all about being riddled with insecurity. And one of the few benefits about getting older is you get kind of rid of that insecurity. You know who you are, right? And you're absolutely right. Being able to go back to that time of your life without any of that bullshit.
Yeah.
Yes, and then we're gonna finish this up and give Kevin's the final point here so we can get this thing moving. Yes, and reading the signs women give off. That was my my biggest missed opportunity for
you
years.
Had a crush on me?
Yeah. I had this happen then I mean a year and a half ago. But who gives a shit? I didn't know how to read signs way longer than I should not have. Body language, I didn't know all that. And the whole, touching the arm. Hey, we should study together. Now I'm like, well, this is going to be an easy.
So fellas, let's write this movie.
Yeah.
Let's write
I'm
this
not against
movie.
it. I'm not against it.
I'm not either. Oh my God.
So my last point, Josh, by the way, he's what, 30 probably when he becomes big.
30,
I think he's supposed to be 30. He missed out on literally the best part of his life.
Yes.
He missed out on college and his 20s.
Mhm.
That's a tragedy to me. If I woke up for when I was 15 and suddenly found out I was 30, I'd be like, you mean I missed out on college and spring break and my 20s and being young and fit and awesome and perfect? And now I'm just 30 and have a shitty job?
I'll argue, and I agree with you.
It's so true.
The only argument you can make about for 30s is that 30 is at least you have money to, instead of going like 8 dudes in a hotel room to Vegas, you can all afford your own beds and have some money like that on the side.
I agree with you. But I think 30s now, even 30s in like the 90s and going into 2000s are different. 30s in the 80s, you had to be married.
Dead.
And,
Your
life was done.
Without a
Your life was
doubt.
done. Your life was done.
Well, they had a movie called Crossing Delancey. I think it was with Amy. I forgot whatever her name was. It was Crossing Delancey, I think it was called. And it was about how she was turning 30 and she wasn't married, and everyone was like making it like a groundswell effort to find this woman a husband before she turned 30 because it was a death sentence. That now it's like, you're 30, you're 30 and you're married. What the fuck is wrong with you? No one gets married till they're 37. Right.
I'm 45 and just having a child.
Yeah.
So
I'm 46 and think I'm going to be dead by 47.
True.
Well, we're hoping you stick around so we can make fun of you some more.
It's the nicest thing you've ever said to me.
Yeah, I know. The fun is driving you to suicide, not actually making you do it.
Well, and again, it goes back to my earlier point. Don't be Josh Baskin, people.
Be Carol
Look
Baskin.
At my life. Look at my life. I'm what happens to Josh.
If he does go back to
Zoltar.
Yeah, be Carol Baskin, not Josh Baskin.
Yes, be Carol.
So for me, I know people have a real connection to this movie. I just didn't. I didn't see it as a kid. I think I saw it years later. To coin a phrase from Kevin, it's fine. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. I probably won't see it again unless my future child wants to see it. This for me is a solid 5.
Wow.
Take it or leave it.
Okay, that was mine.
And by the way, I like Tom Hanks. I love
Tom Hanks.
I do not. I think
history's greatest monster.
He's made some fantastic movies and played some fantastic characters. This just wasn't one of them. And the movie itself just was. I mean, he was okay in it. The movie just didn't do it for me.
Okay, I will end it with this. Another question. Of the kids that played Tom Hanks in a movie, who were your favorites, guys? Forrest Gump, kid Tom Hanks, or the kid that played Tom Hanks in Big?
Oh, Forrest Gump kid.
And I hated Forrest Gump. I'll say Forrest Gump.
When that kid looks at the guy who was banging his mom and goes, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's great. And by the way, God bless him. He ended up serving in Afghanistan. The kid that played Tom Hanks.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
He ended up being Lieutenant Dan.
I was just gonna say, I hope his legs healed up.
Yeah, but by the way, you're both wrong. It's the kid that played Tom Hanks at Splash. and kissed.
Oh,
A half
mermaid,
fish, half girl hybrid.
Yeah.
Under
I,
lethal.
either gonna say the guy who was dropping quarters on the deck and then looking up women's dresses.
Well, that was John Candy. Yeah,
Oh.
that
Oh,
was
that
his
was him?
brother.
Oh,
Yes.
Splash is not good. Critics.
I love Splash. Oh, that's a great movie.
Oh, well, there's the next one.
No,
Although I don't think
no,
Splash
I love
holds
Splash.
No, it does. I watched it a few years
Oh,
ago.
it
It's
totally holds up.
critics 5-star reviews, full of exquisite moments that help the film both become continually hilarious and unforgettably unique.
Ugh. Yeah. Well, by the way, unique in that era when we were talking about how many switcheroo movies there were.
I'll argue continually hilarious is a point of contention for me.
Me too.
Oh, this movie, it's not sad, but it makes me tear up every single time without fail. It's delightfully 80s, and Tom Hanks is an adorable heartbreaker. It's not this movie, guys. It's her menopause.
Yes.
An otherwise hackney story of personality, transmigration, taking on new meaning, and accompanied by plenty of laughs, all because of the film's gregarious and clever star, Tom Hanks.
I know. Well, you're giving me kryptonite right now.
When Marshall brings Hanks and Perkins together, she discovers a grace and lightness in their relationship that transcends the pinched thematics of the script. By the way, in the 32 years that this film has been out, no one has ever walked out of the theater or turned to the person sitting next to them in their house and used that set language anywhere near that critic's review. No one talks like that. Stop it.
Well, also, the sad thing about that movie is, again, it was Tom Hanks' first Oscar nomination, right? Tom Hanks was on a thing that was a uniquely 80s thing, where it was Chevy Chase, Michael Keaton, and Bill Murray, where it was this uniquely asshole, smarmy, hilarious dude in movies. We have never seen that again. And fucking Tom Hanks, the movies he was doing, he was about to enter that echelon. But he does Big, and then right after that, it becomes America's Dad.
Have you not seen a little film called Bachelor Party?
Well, it was before Big. That's my point. Yeah.
He was smarmy, though. Critics 1-star reviews. As for the movie's message is considered, if only grown-ups could be more like kids, Jerry Lewis did an infinitely better job of plugging it in the 50s.
Ugh. And by the way, no, don't be kids, grown-ups. Learn from my mistakes.
It's too involved in administering its reversion fantasy to acquisition guilty yuppies to cast an eye on its own venture status. And the contradictions don't stop there. That this celebration of the Peter Pan syndrome was directed by a woman, Penny Marshall, which also adds another layer of dishonesty.
It was, and you guys remember this, that Peter Pan thing was a fucking big in late 80s, early 90s. It was embracing your inner child.
And those are the only 1-star reviews on Rotten Tomatoes for the film Big. 2.
Really? See, everyone loves it. That's why it does well.
Amazon 5-star reviews. I just rented this movie last night and watched it for the first time because I have never seen it before and I always wanted to. I loved it. I think that Tom Hanks is one of my favorite actors. My only complaint about this movie is that the Lord God's name in vain was taken a lot in anger in this movie. Even the F word was used, but only one time. I especially love the part.
PG movie.
Yeah. I especially love the part in the movie when Josh is in the toy store and he is dancing on the big piano. I just wish that there could have been a sequel. For those of you who have not yet seen this movie, go and get it and petition for, or pension. He didn't spell petition, right? Pension for Big 2. Enjoy, Peter Smith. Wait, update 11/29/2015. I just bought the DVD as a gift for my sister. Her birthday is coming up next month, and I wanted to buy and collect some movies to give her. I know she's going to love this. Well, Peter, I say to you, even your hero Joel Osteen takes the Lord's name in vain when he says, "God damn, I can't believe I got all you suckers to finance a private jet."
And an arena church too. Yeah, absolutely. And wow. God.
I love this show. When I was a teen, I thought it would be a great movie to watch as a family with our kids ranging in ages from 7 to 14. We enjoyed the show. We enjoyed the show, but Dad had to cover the screen during one scene I had forgotten about when Tom Hanks is getting his first feel of boobs. By the way, not topless. I am not sure why they had to ruin a perfectly good, wholesome movie with such a scene. In hindsight, I would definitely watch my teenagers and maybe tweens watch this, but I think it was a bit much for my 6 and 8-year-olds. Love Tom Hanks. Hey, reader or writer, how about ruin the movie when the woman realized she was having sex with a 13-year-old in a man's body? Have you a problem explaining that to your kids, or are you cool with priest intercourse as well?
By the way, this is not revisionist history. This is not the three of us, and I would never describe the three of us as being woke. But this is not the three of us looking back and being like, oh, that's weird. No. At the time, Penny Marshall, after she'd finished the movie and it was clearly going to be a success, interviewers would ask her all the time, well, would you ever consider doing this with a girl? She's like, I would never do this with a girl in the movie because it's a 13-year-old girl getting fucked. Like that was there, even at the beginning, the weirdness of it all.
I enjoy remembering the scene in the bathroom on the morning Josh Baskin wakes up to find himself transformed from a 12-year-old boy into a man somewhere in his 30s. That scene caused a huge burst of laughter from the theater goers who were in attendance. I'll never forget the hearty guffaw of one of my friends from that time. My life utterly spontaneously when Josh, I don't know what he's saying, when Josh peeked inside his underwear in front of the bathroom mirror. I knew I needed to get my own copy of this videotape. So let me get this straight. Your buddy needs you need a copy of this film because he's checking out Hanks's package. Got it. By the way, there's one thing that they missed on. This would have been the funniest part of the film. And I'm just going to give it to you right off the cuff. When he's walking away as a boy after being a man, he looks down his underwear and goes, oh, where did it go? That would have been
See, that would have been that I would have laughed at. Yeah.
Great Tom Hanks movie. We're a great Tom Hanks movie. Tom Hanks is Josh Baskin. He acts like he is a 13-year-old, and I love it. It's pretty funny and very clean. There is only one scene where Josh touches a woman's chest, but there are no sex scenes. One of the best body spot movies, Immo. You won't be disappointed. Great acting, even though I hate Tom Hanks politics.
There it is.
I know it. Amazon 1-star reviews. We were able to watch about 20 minutes of this movie. We then had a family emergency and returned 3 days later to discover that we can't finish the movie. This is not a knock against what is certainly a cute movie, but Amazon has certainly lost a rental customer. Amazon should have a disclaimer, I guess, right, guys? So if you rent this movie and after the wake and burial, this will no longer be in your Amazon rental queue.
I'm just pissed off at you for reading that review. It's not even a review. It's just a complaint to Amazon.
Well, the winner for this one, not funny and disappointing, supposed to be PG rated, but a few instances of unnecessary language and bedroom scenes made it uncomfortable viewing with my 9-year-old. Find something else to watch as a family. Signed, Takashi69.
Why are you watching any movies like this with your 9-year-old?
Yeah.
Seriously.
Guys, they're not gangbanging scenes here, all right? They're not curb stomping like an American History X. Not PG.
If you're that kind of person who's that sensitive,
stop watching movies.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Maybe kill yourself.
Yeah, go watch Dating Goliath on Claymation. That's actually outlawed in the Geneva Convention. That was terrible. Not PG constant sexual innuendos, and they drop GD way too much for us to be rated PG. Not recommended for younger kids under 13. Do you get a common theme? People don't hate the movie. They hate how they said "goddamn" or a titty grab over the shirt. This is a lot of pearl
clutching. It's amazing it was only a PG. I will say that.
Why? This is a bare PG.
It was an F-bomb. I didn't even think you could do.
I thought you got one. I thought you got one.
You got one.
Yeah. Oh, you got one? Okay.
And PG-13.
I don't think you can anymore.
No, you got one. You got one because Last Action Hero made a joke about it, which I love that film.
And I don't think it can be about fucking.
Yeah.
It can't be like,
Okay.
I want to fuck you. It can be like,
Well,
fuck.
it's kind of like in PG-13s, you could show tits, but it can't be sex.
Right.
Hence Titanic. Like
Well,
he's drawing her so you can get tits.
Well, you saw her tits anyway. All right, next. I remember this movie being great when I was a kid. I watch it with my kids now, and they hated it. It was cheesy and boring, very slow to start, and bless Tom Hanks, but this was not his finest job. Granted, it was one of his earlier movies, but still not good. Last one. Who didn't love this movie coming up? Now that I'm grown, the story is problematic. From the character's POV, it's pretty unclear of what the full picture is happening until it's all said and done. As the viewer, it's hard to put aside the fact that even it's Tom Hanks you see in front of you, and a adult, it's an adult. Don't you know proper grammar? The character
You added.
The character is a 13-year-old boy who crosses the line with a adult woman. Do we not know articles and how they work with verbs? With a letter starting with an fucking people. Knowing we all know about the entertainment industry and its IT apostrophe S dark underbelly, it's not hard to believe that this was intentional. There you go. Had to get like a shot at the Hollywood, underground sex, whatever the hell.
Yes, it's at a pizza parlor.
Kevin Israel, did Bill Schulz gut the sacred cow? Not in a timely fashion, but gut it nonetheless.
Yeah, this was a long one. This was a marathon.
All right.
But I gotta say, I think he did. I think
Yes.
I think in as much. Now I don't want to say he destroyed it, but I want to say that he did make the case that the movie is overrated. And I think
Okay,
we're all
I'll
looking
take it.
back on this with too much nostalgia. So I think this was a gutting. This wasn't like a brutal. He didn't decapitate it, but I think the cow is dead, in my opinion.
I think Bill Schulz has found the loophole in our methodology, Kevin Israel. He found out that going against certain films, he knows we're going to destroy him and eviscerate him. He then has chosen his last two, being Superman, an egregious piece of shit, and now Big, which is neither here nor there with us. I guess he figured that out by hook or crook. And thank you. But he doesn't have the balls to go against something that he thinks that we would love, because he knows he'd get stonewalled like he did the previous 4 attempts. So yes, I think more of the film hung itself on its own lack of merits. But as the bylaws have been written, I guess this is a gutting.
Yes. So I have two. I now have two. Yes.
Congratulations. Congratulations, Billy Schulz.
You know what this is like? This is like Bill Schulz playing a game. This is like Bill Schulz is a football team, and the day of the game, the starting quarterback for the other team slips in the shower and twists his ankle and can't go, and he has to face the backup quarterback or even the third stringer, and then he's putting up 35 points in the first half and then showboating his way to the end zone. That's what Bill Schulz has done these last 2
Let me tell you something, Kev. I don't want your loss.
Bill Schulz, it's been a session. It's almost been a fortnight.
He's been a wrestling man.
That was Shuan. I actually thought I was going to make it quick tonight. I'm sorry.
Thank God.
This is great. I got two.
He's so
It is
excited.
on the record. I have two.
Bill
As
Schulz.
much as you guys conspire against me, I got two.
I can't wait till Joanne pulls her hand out and goes 4, or what does she have, 4 or 5?
Yeah. Oh, you believe me? You know she will.
I know. Well, I know she does. Bill Schulz, where can we find you besides possibly checking into rehab sometime soon?
Thanks so much, buddy. I am on compoundmedia.com. Morning with Bill and Joe is Monday through Thursday, 10 to 11 a.m. I would love Gootee is on next week.
Yep.
But I don't think we've ever done a show where you guys are on together. I would love that.
Okay.
Yeah, let's make that happen.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Let's do that let's do that for December then.
Yeah, done. I'll say him. Yeah, well, I'll give you dates.
Done and
You're
done.
busier than I am, so you just got to mark it down. But this is a blast. Sorry I yammered.
Kevin Israel, any less lammering out of you would be appreciated.
KevinIsrael.com. You can find my dates, my comedy dates coming up. And more importantly, leave us a 5-star rating and a review on your podcast platform of choice. As always, it helps us. It's important. It makes us happy. And isn't that what this is all about? Making a bunch of boys trapped in men's bodies happy.
That's
And
really
since you can't do it,
That is it.
since you can't do it like Susan did, do it by leaving us a nice, sweet review.
If you can appreciate
I'll
a
sell this
bunch,
for 100.
I was just gonna say, if you can appreciate a bunch of dudes who still have a lot of their toys from the '80s in their closets still now, you are right, Kevin Israel. Those reviews do make us smile. They have, and we've been getting a lot in the last few days. Thank you so much for being part of our little sojourn every week. We can't thank you enough for being part of it. If you want to advertise with us, guttingthesacredcow@gmail.com, guttingthesacredcow.com, kevingootee.com. for my NFL bets. Boy, last week was a heartbreaker after going 9-2 the week before. I don't want to talk about it. Guttingthesacredcow.com. Kevin Israel, Kevin Gootee, Bill Schulz. We love you. Well, we may see you again. We don't know. Well, we're
Thank you so much for having me, guys. Sorry for blabbering, but I'll leave it with this. I actually love it.
He's trying to Kaiser Soze us. How cute. Love you guys later. Take